The year was 2023. Destiny, as we know it, the franchise, the beloved game of so many years, is ending. The controversial decision from Bungie had been handed down from the heavens themselves. The crown has fallen. But in this reality, we theorize what Destiny 3 might have been, what it could have been.
Put on your big Hollywood sunglasses and light the torch, because it's cellar time. Welcome to the Crack Cellar, as the prophecy was once foretold from the top of a very sharp mountain. I'm Two-Spirit Penguin Daniel.
And Danial and Broadcaster Nickels, who has ascended with the help of Billy G and his vaccine.
Praise Billy G. And also praise Ubisoft for completely abolishing any credence of credit they may have had in the industry, with Watch Dogs 3 being one of the biggest flops of all time, up there with Mass Effect Andromeda.
I never had faith in it, so it's never let me down.
Broadcaster
I never really... That game looked terrible.
Broadcaster Nickels, Watch Dogs 3, if you had to guess, what percentage of the original sales do you think it met? So, like, I don't remember how much the original Watch Dogs sold. I know it was popular and it sold a lot. What percentage of those sales do you think Watch Dogs 3 did in the same period?
Less than a third.
10%. Yikes. It did 10% of the sales of the original Watch Dogs. And, why wouldn't it, with such a brave and bold take as calling everyone in Britain racist for Brexiting? That is the plot of Watch Dogs 3.
Is it really?
It is. It takes place in Britain, and it's all about a group of ragtag Marxists fighting all of the evil racists that want to Brexit. That is literally the story of Watch Dogs 3.
No fucking way.
Yeah. It's, God, I mean, who would have thought a game that stunning and brave could have flopped, Broadcaster Nickels?
You gotta ask the serious question. What board members in their right fucking minds with their money say, yeah, get political with it? I just don't get it.
Yeah, and I think Watch Dogs 2 was even pretty SJW. I didn't play it, but I remember hearing that at some point. So I can't really say for certain, but I think this was kind of, you could kind of, if you were a fan of the series, you probably saw this coming a mile away with the third one.
Yeah. The hacking and everything was just so rudimentary and lame to me. I'm just like, this is the whole game. Conversations weren't exactly compelling. So
yeah, when I think even the original Watch Dogs I didn't like, and that's the one that everyone thinks is good. So I'm not a fan, obviously, but I remember vividly the E3 where they first unveiled Watch Dogs. Now, this game's graphics looked like they were 15 years ahead of the curve. These were the most astonishing graphics you'd ever seen. The hype was so real for Watch Dogs, it was palpable. Then it ends up releasing, and I dare say it barely scratched 50% of the graphics it showed at E3. It was a huge downgrade. And that's what I remember most about Watch Dogs.
I think that's what most remember about it. That was probably the biggest letdown as far as what they were shown and what you got before Anthem hit the scene.
Did Anthem was that developed by the same developer as Watch Dogs?
No,
it wasn't, right?
think Ubisoft does Watch Dogs, right?
Yeah.
It's like Assassin's Creed and shit.
Wait, so who does Anthem again?
BioWare.
Oh God, you're right. BioWare. I forgot.
But I mean, is it BioWare?
Yeah.
Let's be real here. When people say words like Bungie and BioWare and Blizzard Entertainment, what does that really mean anymore?
Not too much. It means that they own IPs we grew up with and are abusing them. That's about it. Yeah. So anyway, how many flops now? How many of these woke ass games have flopped in a row? It's every single one, it feels like.
Oh yeah. It's gonna happen with the new what is it? Fuck. Margot Robbie, what's she doing? She just preached about something today. She's gonna make a movie, a girl power movie. It's just like, how is that in?
Yeah, they fired Johnny Depp from the
Pirates of the Caribbean
movie. Yeah,
I was just trying to reconcile that in my head. I'm like, pirates, open sea, the Caribbean, rum, fucking shenanigans, thievery, murder.
Yeah,
girl power? Question mark? What the fuck?
Yeah, it's some sick shit because Johnny Depp has proven that Amber Heard lied about all those accusations and that she's a crazy ass bitch. And what happens is that he gets fired from all of his stuff and Amber Heard comes back for Aquaman 2.
Well, what happened in the last deposition? Like, something happened. Because it was like a total reversal. Like, Johnny Depp was on the win, and then all of a sudden, like, she brought in the black book or something and just exposed his ass or got the judge to flip. It was weird.
I think he was acquitted of all charges, to my knowledge, and I remember hearing a tape that you could hear Amber Heard on the tape literally saying, "Oh, I'm going to lie about you. I'm going to make up all this shit and get you. I'm going to take you to the clean." That's not word for word, but it was to that effect.
But that all got settled, and like that looked like that put Johnny in a good place, but it seemed like that all changed recently.
It didn't change. Hollywood just decided it didn't care, and they were going to punish Johnny Depp anyway and propel Amber Heard up. It's just the most sick.
Really?
You want to talk about real sexism? Here you go. Wow, the mistreatment of Johnny Depp and the propelling of Amber Heard.
He's a man.
Yeah. So anyway, he got fired from a series that he literally created. Like, that shit wouldn't have gone anywhere without him. He is that series of movies. And I'm not a huge fan. I've seen 2 of them. I'm not a huge fan, but those 2 that I saw, it was 99% Johnny Depp and 1% everything else in the movie. Like, he was the movie.
Didn't the guy that played Barbossa pass away?
I am not sure about that.
He was like, I think he might have not, but if he did, that's a huge part of the cast that you just lost. Orlando Bloom's not coming back. Fucking, and no one liked him anyways. Yeah. Johnny Depp's gone. The dude that played Barbossa's gone. Fucking, no wonder you're trying something radical.
Yeah,
bring in the woman.
And I love Margot Robbie, and I'm not down on this because she's involved in it. I'm just down on it because you're bringing the writer of Birds of Prey, and that movie just flopped horribly. You're basically saying we're going to do the exact same things that made Birds of Prey flop in this new Pirates of the Caribbean movie. And oh, by the way, the guy that you're stealing his job was literally screwed into prison by Amber Heard. Like, she literally tried to put the guy in prison, got caught, suffering no repercussions, and he loses everything. It's just a great microcosm for this world that we live in.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
So there's this trend of just woke movies, woke video games flopping and flopping hard. And the real mystery is the industry does not give 2 shits. They're losing money. They're just losing shit tons of money, and they don't care. They're just continuing to do it.
Well, yeah, I mean, at this point, there's only 2 things, right? You can go like Alex Jones conspiracy level and just think that they're a puppet arm of the government that they're trying to manipulate you and fucking, all that
it's
shit.
A solid Alex Jones.
Or it could be just the more simpler, far more nefarious thing is that they got nothing better, and they think just if they can saturate you with this theme of content that one day you'll like it. It's just it's one of those. Like why are you sticking with this clearly failing theme?
It is very odd that they can afford to lose the money that they're losing.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense.
Anytime you hear we need more female or more diversity or we need less white males or anything, it's like everyone always cheers, and you always hear this fan base. They're just like, I am so proud to know that, that we're finally getting something, and then none of them show up. None of them show up. No one buys anything. These movies fucking flop. And then they're just like, people are sexist. They don't like women movies.
It's especially pronounced in video games too. Like woke video games, none of the SJWs on Twitter show up to buy those video games that they influence into oblivion.
Of course they don't.
Yeah.
It's not about that to them.
Nope.
They already got their money. They made their money online.
Speaking of woke, though, have you heard about Capcom?
I once respected them. Why don't you let me know?
So I guess like a letter was leaked, or like maybe a transcript of a meeting or something to that effect, an email, and whatever this was that got leaked basically was Capcom talking to shareholders that, we're going to start tailoring our games to the Western market, and we're going to start censoring, and we're going to start allowing the localizers to dictate what our developers create. So essentially Capcom is bending the knee to the game journos of United States. And
it'd be really interesting how that works out, because I mean, and I hate to say this about Capcom, but they're kind of on the out. I think Capcom has always felt like the next Sega.
Yeah.
Just always so close to the chopping block, always failing with huge IPs that they directly owned that they just can't seem to reinvent on any level, and then they have a huge backlog of great video games that they don't even seem to fucking care about.
Oh, I know.
And it's almost like you want to see Capcom die. Maybe I'm just speaking from my own personal belief, but it's just like, it's sad to see what Capcom is, where you're just like, people are begging for a Marvel versus Capcom fucking 4, and it's like pulling teeth from them.
Mm-hmm.
Marvel versus Capcom 4. When did we get Marvel versus Capcom 2? What year was it? And it's 2020. It's fucking insane to me. And people are like asking, when's the next Onimusha going to come out? It's just like, I laugh. I'm like, you think they give a flying fuck about Onimusha? No way, dude. Like, look what they did to Kenji Inafune.
Yep.
They fucking, I mean, I'm not saying Kenji was a saint by any means. He's kind of a psychopath himself. But it's just like, but nonetheless, it's like, that guy arguably put you guys on the map. All right.
He did put him on the map.
Was one of the main people, one of the handful of original people that put you on the map. And you guys just callously let him go, and you just fucking put his IP to the back burner and let it get shit on and sprinkled on top. Like, what the fuck?
I think arguably Capcom's biggest game of the last 5 years is the new Street Fighter 5, and that game was financed by Sony. They literally wouldn't make the game, and Sony's like, okay, fuck, listen, we'll give you 60% of the development cost. Just fucking make the game. And finally that got them to make a new Street Fighter. One of the biggest games of all time. One of the most legendary series of all time. That's what it took to get them to make a sequel.
Yeah. And put that in still, let's measure that to what I just said earlier. Street Fighter 5. When did Street Fighter 4 get made? 3 get made and 2 get made? How many versions of 2 did we get? You know, it's just, you compare it to other fighter games that are on the exact same level. How many Mortal Kombats are we on right now? More than double than what Street Fighter is sitting on right now. Yep. All right. How many Guilty Gears have we gotten? How many King of Fighters? How many how many dude, I think there's more Dragon Ball Z fighters at this point than there are Street Fighter games, dude.
Yeah. Capcom it's just bizarre. Like the Mega Man X, they just refused to make a new Mega Man X, and it's literally the most popular game of the SNES. And the SNES talk about a console that just had a lineup of killers. The SNES, like you could go through the top 50 games of the SNES and barely crack the surface of the greatness of the library of the SNES.
For sure.
And they have like multiple games in the top 5. And they won't make sequels to any of them. And when they do make games, they suck. They won't hire talented developers to make these. And apparently they've gotten rid of all the old talent because there is nothing about Capcom today that resembles even an iota of what they used to be in the 90s.
And I think what it really comes down to is we always like to think, I mean, we eventually know these studios don't represent anything that we grew up to know about them. You know, that all those people that were involved in all those projects eventually leave. Maybe there's a handful, but I think I think that process that we're trying to describe happens a lot quicker than the people physically leaving the studio. I think that's just the end result. I think the core problem with all these studios and us always asking why are you not using these IPs is because they don't know how to use the fucking IPs. It's a problem of ownership. These people that have made these original ideas, they left, but they didn't take their ideas with them. They legally couldn't take their ideas with them. And it's just a crying fucking shame because then you get us fucking 2 jabronis talking about Capcom fucking not making Onimushas and not enough Street Fighters and stuff like that. And it just comes off preposterous. But on the real level is they're not capable of doing it. None of those people that made those games are fucking there. And any of the people that are there that even show a fucking feign of interest in making those games are just not the people that should be doing it. Let's just be real here. Let's just be super real.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate. And it happened a lot faster and harder in the Western developers. Like all these Western developers, this all happened to them like probably 10 years ago, mostly some 15 years ago. Like it was much quicker. Now we're starting to see the same thing happen in Japan, where the old guard is leaving and the new guard wasn't trained. Like I don't know what it is, if they just didn't have the right tutelage, if they didn't have the right mentors, but we're now starting to see companies like Capcom simply not be able to develop good sequels to their legendary IPs because their talent sucks. They don't feel it. They don't understand what made Capcom special. It's sad because a lot of Japanese developers are holding tight, but some of them are slipping through. And I think Capcom is one of them, unfortunately. And it pains me to say it because, man, back in the day, dude, was there anything more exciting than a new Capcom game coming out in the 90s?
Nah, dude. Capcom just had hitter after hitter for so long. It's a shame.
It is. And what is also a shame, Broadcaster Nickels, is that I'm currently playing Destiny 2 Beyond Light on a GTX 1070 and not an RTX 3080 as was originally planned. Broadcaster Nickels, what do you think about the fact that the 3080s sold out immediately, the 3090s sold out immediately, the 3070s sold out immediately, all the Big Navi sold out immediately, all the PS5s and the Xboxes sold out immediately, and there's no stock of any of them ever, and if anything does come in stock, it's gone in 3 seconds.
Dark winter.
Was that what Biden was talking about when he brought up the dark winter?
I think so, man. It's the only thing that came to my mind.
Yeah. Yeah,
I think it's just bullshit. All these people, it's just these companies just kept their marketing schemes on track like coronavirus didn't happen. And it's kind of crazy how they could convince everybody that that was the truth somehow, even though they all cared about coronavirus and they all saw how coronavirus was impacting every other facet of fucking reality. But then when it came to video games and technological hardware that comes and manufactured directly out of the epicenter of this virus, you know, they thought, oh, I don't know, nothing got delayed. My overlords are telling me everything's peachy keen. Fucking then it comes to the launch day and all these technologies. What is there? 12 at each store? There's people, dude, there were stories of people waiting in line saying there's 14 available. Only the first 3 customers got some. Wow. What is that? What does that even mean?
Yeah.
You know, not only were the companies or the manufacturers lying, but the people that at the stores had such a limiting stock, they were willing to not even sell the whole batch to their customers. Like they wanted them so bad. Like they knew how rare they were going to be for the next year or something. Like, what is that?
Yeah, there's definitely some fuckery going on with all this, because one or two things you think, okay, that's fine. But it seems like there's a concerted effort to kind of give people hope and then take it away for the last year. In the year 2020, I feel like the theme has been give people hope, rip it out of their hands. And
for sure,
nothing is a bigger example than all these video cards and these consoles all coming out, ironically, in this year of the COVID, and none of them even meeting a baseline, like a sketchy baseline of stock. All of these were paper launches, basically. The PlayStation sold out like 2 minutes after it went on sale. I think the Xbox was almost the same, like 5 minutes maybe. The RTXs, the 330 series, or is it 3000 series? Whatever they call it. Those, I was waiting when those came out. The buy button never lit up.
Oh, there's so many people that have the exact same story.
They were taken by scalpers immediately with robots that were doing robot orders. That's the only way that the button literally cannot appear when you are sitting there refreshing every 10 seconds. And it goes from not available to sold out in 1 split second. That is not possible. And it happened with the PS5, the RTXs, the Big Navis, all of it. Yeah. And we're supposed to believe these aren't paper launches.
I think it's a mixture of, what's obviously a mixture of real things like supply chain issues. Obviously, more people are, aka more customers than ever because of the current situation. You know, like those two things, I don't think people put enough weight on, like on a personal level. You know, when you're thinking about it, like don't think like company conspiracies or like scalpers and things like that, because those have always existed. A company's not going to purposely try to lower their stock. They're going to try to get as much as they can and then overinflate what they actually have to for marketing, right? And I like people on a personal level need to think about those things and just, I don't know, just cut through the bullshit more and not allow this hype to take place, because it's our own fault. You know, like we should know better, but I think because personally for me, the reason why I got so hyped is because I haven't had a graphics card in so long. Mm-hmm. I remember when the 30 series first got announced, I was talking to you and I was like, I think I might get a 3090. I was that excited. You know, I wasn't even willing to think about like, well, is that even worth the dollar for the bang for the buck? Like less than a week later, I was like, I ain't getting a fucking 3090. But it's just like, I got so crazy about it. I wasn't really thinking about the reality of how you're actually going to get these cards. You know? China shut down for how many months? And that's where all these dies are made. You know, that's where these things are manufactured. I feel like we just let ourselves down, most importantly, with this whole thing.
Well, yeah. Broadcaster Nickels, are you ready to get to our preview of Destiny 3?
Indeed. What's that? You want more Crack Cellar? This is good. Join your lords on Twitter at The Crack Cellar and Facebook.com/The Crack Cellar.
Hey, you over there. Are you a straight up Chad or a strong woman? Well, you can find us on Apple Podcasts and your favorite podcasting app. Or, if you're a straight up beta cuck, find us on YouTube with the rest of the Cloud Chasers. And we're back with our preview of Destiny 3. Broadcaster Nickels, I have one very simple question for you. Will Destiny 3 actually exist? Will it happen?
Not in Bungie's hands.
You think 343 is going to step in and be like, we got this, bro?
God. God. I would fall on my sword. I would just. Oh, man. God, talk about history repeating itself. I would cry blood. It just be such a turn of events. I don't know, man. Destiny 3 just seems so unattainable at this point. They don't seem capable of making a standalone game, you know, because you look at what Destiny 1 was, and then what Destiny 2 was, which everyone knows from, if anyone was there from the beginning, was a huge step back. And in Bungie's own words, you know, we have a lot of correcting, quote unquote, to do to get back to where we were. So Destiny 2 already started on this. We need to get back to where Destiny 1 was, which is a really bad sign, you know? But then I'm going to give you another notion that is still prevailing to this fucking day. And every time I hear it, it makes a little throw up come in my mouth. You know, when every time a new DLC is launched and the criticisms come and the reviews come in, it's always a disappointment. It's always a nothing burger. It's always, it could be more. And what the final notion I always hear out of these goddamn reviewers and stuff like that is here it comes. The next one has to be it. It has to be the knockout of the park. If it's not, it's over. I've heard that for 5 DLCs now. It's just like, well, third time's fucking you're out, right? So yeah. What's going on here? So this is like when you think about Destiny 3 after these planned expansions come out, it's just like, I just don't think it's in the fucking cards.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like it is. And like, also, does it deserve to happen? Like, does Destiny deserve a third game? Because at this point, I'm not sure anymore. Like, when I first played original Destiny, vanilla Destiny, and Dinklebot took me to the moon where we fought wizards, all I could think about was, this is a rough around the edges game that has potential higher than any other game I've played in my entire life. The potential was the X factor. It's always been about potential with Destiny.
Right.
And since then, it's been 1 step forward, 2 steps back. Every single expansion, all the way up to Destiny 2, which, let's be honest with ourselves, Destiny 2 was an expansion of Destiny 1 that they were forced to call a new game. I don't know if it was Activision or what happened, but that was an expansion that they just like, oh, no, it's Destiny 2 now.
I think it was because, so some people don't realize this, but Destiny 1 Activision was only a publisher. Everything done in Destiny 1 was Bungie. There were no other studios helping them. Mm-hmm. That was them. So when you measure all that content from D1 and you compare it to the cadence of releases for D2, it's not actually fair because they had High Moon Studios and Vicarious Studios helping them and whatever other assets from Activision, because Activision wasn't just publishing them anymore. They were actually giving them development assets, you know? So it just makes you think, you know, was the Bungie that we actually got once Destiny actually launched in 2014, because Destiny 1 was supposed to launch in 2013. Remember, they had a huge shakeup 1 year before launch. The inevitable launch. And they scrapped the entire game and came out with something else.
Yeah,
right?
There are legends about the original story of Destiny 1. Like, even Peter Dinklage, who voiced the original Ghost, there was an interview where he talked about it. He's like, yeah, you know, there was a lot of stuff that just isn't in the game.
Yeah. Like, that's because everything, I still think everything that we have gotten, now this is not, some of this is just my own conspiracy that a lot of people out there think as well, but a lot of it's based on fact. Just straight up fact that we know of from accounts of ex-employees, not only from Bungie's mouth themselves on things that they showed us that maybe they didn't really quite understand the implications of showing it off would be, but they did anyways. The fact that over 2 or 3 years ago, we got a beta footage of what Destiny originally looked like, and in that footage, they show you exploring Europa. You know, it's just, you know, and sure, people are just like, oh, it's super beta, you know, it's super undeveloped, it's just rough around the edges shit. They were maybe planning on going to Europe, but it never happened. It's in the fucking UI. They had rough sketches. Clearly, they show that, like, it's not if you can just clearly throw the benefit of the doubt in one way, you have to at least understand the possibilities of going the other way. Because everything that we've gotten up to November 2020 is stuff that coincidentally was stuff that they were milling around in their heads back in 2013 and before.
Well, there's a running conspiracy theory that essentially all the content that Destiny 2 has released has actually been scrapped content from D1.
It absolutely is, and that's why it feels so separate and segregated. And everybody's like, why does this feel like some standalone bullshit story? Because it was dissected from a story that everybody that currently works at Bungie doesn't understand.
Yeah, and how could Destiny 3 even happen right now at Bungie in its current state? They could barely muster a 5-hour expansion. What does that say about how they're going to develop a from the ground up brand new Destiny title with a $60 game's worth of content?
How many years of Destiny have we gotten? 6 years through Destiny 1 and 2, right? 6 years of Destiny, we haven't gotten one new enemy. We have rarely, I think, since D1's implementation, I wonder, I bet you the increase in unique, architecturally defined loot is very incremental. I'm talking about, like, you know, world loot pools and stuff when they like reskin based off like foundation loot. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
How many of those have we ever gotten in Destiny as a franchise? Not that many. All the vendor refreshes and stuff, especially in Destiny 2, have been essentially just reskins. Even some of the best ones we've gotten have just been really good reskins. They're just in disguise. They're just they're so good you just didn't quite notice at first that they were just really exotic versions of base loot you already had. You know?
Yeah, and it's funny too, because when you say stuff like that, it reminds me of Whisper of the Worm. Because I remember when Whisper of the Worm first came out, I was enamored with that. I thought, okay, finally Destiny is doing what I knew it had. Like, when we talk about the potential of Destiny and like this unlimited universe of potential I saw within it, Whisper of the Worm, the entire beginning to end of that was exactly what I saw in my mind as like the possibility for how they could design content in that game. And then you told me, oh, that's just a weapon from D1 reskinned. And I was like, it deflated me like a balloon, like a whoopee cushion losing air. I just remember just sitting there like, oh, great. So the thing that I just got super hyped for actually was just reskinned content.
But it showed, but you know, that example shows you the confliction of greatness versus just shitting the bed in Destiny. Because you have such this great implementation of a story, a miniature storyline for an individual weapon. The quest was dope. The areas were dope. Everything about it was dope. And then at the very end, you get a dope ass weapon. But what is it? It's a reskin of a sniper that you got years ago with some of the same exact attributes. So you're telling me in between those years, we haven't gotten anything new. You're just basing everything off of shit you've had forever. You're not like Destiny is like the master of giving you shit you already have.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, fuck, even in the newest expansion, dude, they took away so much loot, right? And they sunsetted so much shit, and they said it's to make room for new stuff. And in the storyline, Varix gives you a Forsaken sniper rifle, a Forsaken loot sniper rifle, the Long Shadow or whatever it's called. We've had that sniper for years. What the fuck, Bungie? Like, paid $40 for that expansion. It's just, it kills me because I've paid that much for every single expansion, and I'm talking shit, and I'm explaining to myself why it's all wrong, but I do it anyways, and it boggles my mind.
It's that potential, dude. You see that potential, and you can't shake it, even though you know you've just been getting screwed over by this company. It's like you still see it in the corner of your eye. You just know it's like, I know what this could be, but it refuses to be that. And that kind of brings me to my big point for Destiny 3. They need to shit or get off the pot. They need to decide if they are an MMO or if they are not an MMO and embrace it, whichever way they want to go, because they have been in this fucking weird limbo ever since the original D1 came out, where they're kind of an MMO, but they're kind of not. They balance things for not being an MMO, but then in another part of the game, they balance it for being an MMO. They have vertical progression in a game that's clearly designed for horizontal progression.
Absolutely.
They're conflicted as hell, and they just need to make the choice and go with it.
And some people out there, they don't know what vertical versus horizontal progression is. That's a unique term to a lot of people. Why don't you go ahead and explain that novelty to them?
Go ahead, Professor Nickels.
So vertical progression, right? You have a straight vertical stack of power in the game. So you have a power level, you gain experience, you go up that level, that puts you on level a par with everything else. So you're level 2, you go into a level 2 area, you're able to fend for yourself. You know, everybody else's level 2 is on your same exact, maybe they have different skills, but numbers wise, base wise, they're all on your level, right? Horizontal progression is something where you don't necessarily have to be a certain level to be way better in something, right? There's this flat board of abilities and classes out there, and you can go any direction you want, right? And a level doesn't gate you from it. Does that sound right?
Yeah. It means that almost all gear can be applied to almost all content. That's essentially what horizontal progression means.
Right. So essentially, in Destiny terms, you could get Whisper of the Worm, right? And that is a utility tool, essentially. It's never going to be like, oh, remember the year Whisper of the Worm was good? It's going to be, oh, dude, they just released this content, and I think Whisper of the Worm will be fucking perfect for this thing, you know?
Exactly. It makes it so situationally you use gear. So you do a raid here, you do a raid there. A year later, you do some more raids. Raid gear that you, in a horizontal game, raid gear that you gain from a raid, let's say 4 years later, is just as powerful as gear that you got 4 years ago. It's just used differently. Whereas in vertical, the gear you got 4 years ago, you might as well delete it. It's absolutely worthless. It cannot be used in anything.
It's almost like, I guess in a simpler analogy, it's almost like the games require you to, the games evolve mechanically and not in a power dynamic, you know? Like as the game goes on, the mechanics are the challenge loop, not the pure power stat thing. Like this enemy now has 30% more health, 30% more damage, 30% whatever, evade or whatever. Like that, it's just, it never evolves like that. And it never stacks up that way.
Vertical progression is Final Fantasy. Horizontal progression is Zelda. In Zelda, you get new equipment that's just as powerful as your old equipment. It's used in different ways.
Right. So
in Final Fantasy, they have increased stats that makes the old gear completely irrelevant.
And then they all in their system in that game to make up for that kind of flaw that system or that hole that system leaves is vanity.
Exactly.
Hey, we know you really like the look of that weapon that's useless now, so let's bring up the image of it, but leave the stats of it behind.
Yeah, and that is a mechanic made for vertical progression MMOs that realize our new gear sucks and everyone wants to look at the old gear, so we're going to let them just put their old graphics over the new gear, which is a stunning indictment on like their new teams. Like if you like think of if you're in a World of Warcraft MMORPG, a new expansion that comes out in 2020, and you have like this ultimate sword that you just got from the final boss of the newest raid in WoW, and the first thing you do is you go to the glamour shop and you put some sword that was released in 2008 over it. What an indictment on the current development team.
Well, think about the slow attitude burn on those systems themselves. You know, eventually, originally those systems were kind of scoffed at because of that exact notion. And then they slowly lightened up. It's like they slowly conceded. They're just like, yeah, we know we suck now.
Speaking of sucking, let's get back to D3. What are your predictions for monetization? So D1 to D2, obviously we have the Eververse, and there's been much talk about the Eververse, and we don't need to go over that whole thing again. But what do you think is going to happen D2 to D3 for monetization? What disgusting, gross things do you think they're going to do?
Well, I think this will actually be a little bit more optimistic, because if there is a Destiny 3, I would think that they would have to have reformulated their team, gotten some people in there that actually know. Well, at this point, maybe the original people can't even fix anything. It might have taken on its own life, but nonetheless, they would have to reformulate their team to a size and efficiency to the point where they would have to be able to release a good amount of content regularly with fair prices and kill the Eververse. I don't think Destiny can stay alive even with half of the monetization it has in it. It has everything besides a monthly subscription fee. Like, I think most other games are jealous of what Destiny has going on. They have this loyal fan base that is just duped into thinking they're getting a deal. So I don't know what it is, but they have Comet Expand. They have $40 expansions. They once upon a time had small $15 expansions. They have the real money store, the Eververse. They have in-game currency. They have seasons now that you can buy, which essentially are the small $15 expansions. Essentially, again, cough cough. It's pretty much like a subscription fee. They just renamed the monthly subscription fee. And what else do they have? I mean, they even have, and this is something people don't often think about, but they have exclusive in-game items that only are available through purchasing real life goods. And that's not just like the legendary like the super legendary versions of physical games or anything. Like you go to Bungie.com and and you buy one of the lore books or you buy a t-shirt, they give you emblems and stuff that you can't get anywhere else. And sure, that's just, an emblem. Who gives a fuck? It's just, you have to consider these things. They have all of it. Mm-hmm. They have like so much of it. If anything, monetization needs to get stripped back a little bit, and they need to reassure the fans that want a Destiny 3 that they can deliver this time. Because I don't know if anyone's going to take another 4 years of nothing, especially when they're supposed to wrap it. I mean, if you look at the expansion names, it sounds like the franchise is wrapping up. Lightfall is the final expansion name, right? And so this Beyond Light, we got the Darkness, right? We went to Europa. We finally found out about the Exo's origins and all that stuff, and how Exos work, and the Vex and the Darkness and stuff like that. The only real thing that's left is taking out Savathun and maybe taking on like the physical darkness, which we thought was the Veil. We thought we were going to get like a glimpse of a new enemy in this expansion, but we didn't. So I don't just from the name, I don't think the Witch Queen, which is the next expansion, is going to do it for us. I think that's just going to be some reskinned Hive. Sorry, guys. And then there's Lightfall after that, which maybe that will be a new enemy race. But then you got to raise the big question mark. Why introduce a brand new enemy set the last year of a franchise? You think really like that move would be more likely reserved for a Destiny 3.
You'd think, but I thought Destiny 2 would have a new class in it, and it didn't. So all bets are off with these guys. They don't really they know what you want, and I think they get off on not giving it to you.
Well, I think they get off on the idea of stealing it from you, and in their own egotistical way, making it better 3 years down the road, hoping you forgot that you actually suggested the idea. They're just like, we came up with your idea, but it's ours because we made it 10 times better.
Yeah. My monetization predictions are probably a little more straightforward. I think that the break from Activision has proven one thing to me, and it's that Activision was not the devil on Bungie's shoulder. It's quite the opposite. I think Activision might have actually been the angel on Bungie's shoulder. And I believe that they are going to go down a dark road of monetization in Destiny 3. I think we're going to get pay-to-win mechanics, and they're going to disguise them and try and trick you into thinking they're not pay-to-win. They're going to take phone game style mechanics to sort of say, well, you can earn this in game, so it's not pay to win, but if you pay for it, you'll get it tomorrow. If you want to do it free, you'll have it next year. That is what I believe is coming to Destiny 3. Something like Whisper of the Worm. I have a feeling that you're going to get something like that, and you're going to have to spend $40 on it. And if you don't want to spend $40 on it, they're going to make you grind something that's going to take 6 months to a year instead. Those are the type of mechanics I expect in Destiny 3.
Those sound like phone game mechanics.
That's where I think it's going. Bungie has shown me nothing but downward spiral when it comes to monetization. They had a chance when they broke from Activision to say, you know what? We weren't these people. This was Activision. Guess what? Eververse is gone. No more vendor there. Put just like a cake factory there where they just give you some cake that gives you an XP bonus every time you show up at the tower. Eververse is gone. But no, they doubled down on Eververse. They actually made the Eververse worse. They reduced the amount of engrams you got. They reduced the amount of bright dust you get.
Oh, yeah. And increased all the items you can get. Dude, some of this shit in there is so cool looking. You're just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, and most of the gear that's not in the Eververse looks like garbage. That's going to continue. That's going to get worse.
It's pretty sad when the most creative loot is fucking hidden behind a paywall.
Yeah. And once you get to the point where power is hidden behind that paywall, that's when things get really bad. And I think we're getting real close to that, but we shall see. Broadcaster Nickels, Top 3 things that Destiny 3 could do, but won't because Bungie are cowards. I will allow you to take the number 3. Go.
This one is going to be controversial. There's a lot of people out there that come from Halo days and the great old days of ranked matchmaking, and they're just like, Destiny deserves to have a great PvP. And I'm here to tell you that that is a tumor, a cancerous tumor on the Destiny franchise that needs to be cut the fuck off. There's nothing wrong with a good PvP game. And I'm totally not against Bungie making one of those again. But they need to separate it from Destiny. Destiny is PvE, in my opinion, with them desperately trying to turn it into a PvP game or have a PvP section. And if they had enough people and time and creativity, it might work, but they don't. They simply don't. So kill it, expand on PvE, and like you said earlier, fucking take a shit or get off the pot. Turn it into a real MMO. If you want PvP elements so bad, do it MMO way. Mm-hmm. Make player killer
world
accounts.
PvP. Can you imagine just doing public events on Nessus and all of a sudden you get in a huge PvP war?
Dude, well, think about it this way. It could be, that would be dope too. Don't get me wrong. I'm not ruling that out either, but it could be even more simpler. Think you're rolling into a lost sector, right? And like playing Bloodborne, all of a sudden it says intruder, you know, or hunter, you know, and all, and you're just like, oh fuck, dude. And like a taken portal, like just opens up above you, right? And these motherfuckers, you know what the ascendant plane is? Mm-hmm. So anyways, like maybe there's a mechanic where like you can jump into this ascendant plane hub and you just see all these taken portals of different player instances where they're going through like lost sectors or on a public event or whatever it is. And you just like come down as player killers and just try to wreck their shit. And then you leave, you know, like why aren't there mechanics like that? You don't have to have like this totally separate PvP arena entity that obviously gets no fucking love. Let's be real here. Everyone can agree with that. PvP in Destiny gets no fucking love.
It's just a holdover from Halo. They don't want to let go of the ghost of Halo.
Yeah. Think about how many like Trials of Osiris is the biggest glaring thing. Oh, God. Like every time they talk about where Trials is at, like we want it to be the pinnacle of Trials. We really want to just nail it out of the park, but it's never coming, which is really an indictment on what PvP is. Yep. Anyways, yeah, so PvP needs to die.
All right, that's a good number 3, and I totally agree with you. It's either that or you go all in on PvP and you scrap the PvE, I think. You got to go one way or the other, I think, in this game, and I agree with you. It should go PvE. The most exciting elements of this game, the most fun you have in Destiny, has nothing to do with the fucking Crucible. It has to do with going to the Leviathan and taking on Callus. Like, the most epic moments of this game are all PvE by far. It's not even a close race. So I say you double down on that, and I agree with you. So yeah, my number 2 though is not going to be controversial. I want ship combat, Broadcaster Nickels. We've talked about this many times. When Destiny 1 first came out, and I noticed that okay, not only can you get a ship, but you can customize your ship. And these ships all look like they have different configurations. And they actually go out of their way to like show you scenes where your ship is in orbit. Your ship is going into orbit, going into the planet. Your ship is going to warp speed. You see your ship in hyperspace going warp speed. Like they have all these elements of ships being involved in the game. But when you really boil it down, they're essentially screensavers. They're load screens.
Yep. This vanity filler.
I say fuck that, dude. I say you know what? I'm going to double down on your number 3 in my number 2. I'm going to say you take PvP out and you replace it with ship combat.
Well, that would just be an extension of PvE. You know.
Well, you know what? You could add some PvP in there too if you want, but I agree with you. I think that these ships are cool. I think it's one of the coolest things about Destiny. I've always thought that. There are like 100 different ships. There are so many different ship designs in Destiny. Every time I go into a Crucible, into a Gambit, and you get to that load screen where you see all your teammates and their custom ships, I see new ships almost every single time I get in one of those screens. I look them around, I'm like, oh, I've never seen that one before. Every time. For 6 years now. But we can't do anything with them.
Yeah, it's funny too because ships are like the red herring for me in Destiny. That the original crew that had the idea for Destiny is not aboard the ship at all. Because it's just like when you see those ships and when you first get it in D1 and the way they show you come into orbit and how you come off the ship and just appear like what's that effect? You just kind of materialize on the ground or whatever, your light power. When the trailer first came out for that in E3, the way they presented that was just like ships are gonna be something, like it just the way they presented it just made it seem like we have ideas for ships. Don't worry, we're not this is just the tip of the iceberg. And then it literally ended up just being a screen.
Yep.
Where they float around.
Yeah, it's sad, and I have 2 ideas basically for it. Idea 1 is Star Fox. You make the ship combat essentially Star Fox levels that you add into the game's campaign narrative, into the raid narrative. So imagine you're doing Leviathan and you're doing all the normal shit with Callus, you're doing his little gauntlet, and then before you actually get to Callus's throne room, he expels you from the Leviathan and puts this crazy like Omni shield around the Leviathan and is like, fuck you, bitch. You didn't think I had shields, motherfucker? Get lost. And instead you go into your ships and you go into like a Star Fox level where you're going around the Leviathan taking out these like power pylons or whatever that are powering the shield. And then eventually you take everything out, a big fucking Callus spaceship boss shows up, you kill that, then you teleport right back down into fucking Callus's throne room, and then you take him on. That's idea 1. Idea 2 is a little bit simpler. You go into dogfighting mode. You look at that new Star Wars game, Star Wars Squadrons that came out. Just do something like that, but with your Destiny ships in the third person, not first person. That is my big stickler for ship combat in D3. I do not want it to be first person. It needs to be third person, in my opinion.
Yeah, it really does. I don't like first person space combat.
I think it works for certain games, but for D2, it's not what I want. Not at all. Or D3, I should say. That being said, Broadcaster Nickels, I think you know the number one thing that Destiny 3 could do but won't because Bungie are cowards. Why don't you enlighten us?
It was our expert explanation earlier that got me to this riveting point. But horizontal progression or leveling, whatever you want to call it, it just needs to fucking happen. There's no way you can tell us that we're playing a looter shooter and then just slowly make all the loot just obsolete. And then worse than that, one day, once you've band-aided it enough to the point where you've made enough people happy and brought enough of that loot up, you get rid of it all. You just take it all away. and you say, don't worry, we have better stuff for you. And then give you a 2-year-old sniper rifle. Fuck you, Bungie.
I completely agree with you. I think Destiny has been screaming for horizontal progression since the day it was born. Vertical progression was always a mistake for this game. It doesn't work with the PvP. It makes the PvE stale. It's just bad all around. And I agree. It needs to go.
The only thing light level should represent in Destiny is the points that you allocate into the subclass you're using. Mm-hmm. It's not like a power stat. If you have 1,000, if you're at 1,000 light, that just means you have that many points to throw in to whatever subclass you're trying to build. you know?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, on that note, Broadcaster Nickels, as you know, with all of our previews, we like to give either a thumb up or a thumb down, or perhaps the dreaded side thumb. In this instance, what do you give Destiny 3?
That game came from the fucking moon. I don't know. It's hard to really quantify my feeling. Yeah, it's really hard to quantify my feelings of Destiny. I'm going to give it 2 side inner thumbs coming together to touch tips.
Oh, shit. I'm going to give it a big old fat thumbs down. I think the Destiny needs to die. I think Bungie should just start a new franchise.
They are.
I don't see Destiny fixing itself. All of history indicates that Destiny is going down and not up. The very few rare upticks in Destiny's history were immediately followed by massive downticks. And if you look at Bungie's track record, it does not appear that they have the same development team. I mean, obviously they don't have the same development team, but they don't have the same level of developers as they used to. And everything that I see coming out of Bungie right now is them having kind of these lesser developers take old stuff and be like, hey, we just need you to like put some paint on this and make it say something else, and we're going to charge $40 for it. I don't think that translates into a new Destiny game. I think that if Destiny 3 does come out, it's going to be really bad. And with that, Broadcaster Nickels, are you ready to get to our review of Bungie's Destiny 2 Beyond Light?
I am excited. Is that what I'm supposed to say? I'm riveted.
And we're back with our review of Bungie's Destiny 2 Beyond Light. And the creator of this video game describes it as the following. Another pyramid ship has awakened on Europa, the frozen moon of Jupiter. The fallen leader, Aramis, seeks to build an empire using the powers of the darkness. The Guardians will venture to the frozen frontier and learn to wield the darkness and discover the secrets of the Deep Stone Crypt. Broadcaster Nickels.
I feel like you're supposed to read that as Savala.
I was going
Guardian, another pyramid ship is awakened on Europa. The forest moon of Jupiter. The fallen leader Aramis seeks to build an empire.
God
shit like
it.
that.
I should, you know what? This should have been the one exception where you did the fucking, the read of the hypnosis, because that was perfect. You're right. It should have been Savala. But, man, Europa looks great, doesn't it, Broadcaster Nickels? I'm going to start off with some positivity.
You sounded like you were eating shit while saying that. How many bison bills did they pay you, Daniel? I want this on the record now.
I don't know if it's just my inner Empire Strikes Back fan, but it was great to be playing a sci-fi game on a snowy planet with snowy, cool technology and stuff, you know. Just the setting I liked a lot, but I thought the execution of Europa was decent. It was pretty good. A lot of the areas looked fucking amazing. Like some of the coolest vistas I've seen in this game in a while were in Europa, but I mean, that's one thing Destiny 2's always gotten right anyway. So it's just status quo, basically. The visuals in this game are killer and always have been.
Yeah. I would say that the execution of the actual surface of the planet is pretty good. I would say the execution of implementing the planet into the solar system was just not there.
Mm-hmm.
They gave no explanation on why you haven't gone to Europa before, and really why you're gonna go there now and you didn't before. Like, there's no intro. Like, even in the trailer where it shows the Drifter getting his like ship and his snow gear on, and he's like going towards Europa, I thought that was going to be in the game. I thought that was going to be like the CGI movie clip where they kind of introduce Europa into the solar system. You know, they're like, hey, look, Drifter's going out towards this planet. No, it's just them on the planet. Mm-hmm. And then once the movie clip's over, they're just like, hey, click on Europa, go there. It's like, okay.
Yeah, there isn't a lot of pageantry anymore when they introduce new areas.
No, not at all.
It is. There's so many things that this game could do better, and this expansion is no different. It has all. I mean, I'm sure you'll agree. It has all the same problems that all of the Destiny 2 expansions have had. In fact, this might have the greatest quantity of those problems.
I don't know if it has the greatest quantity of them, or if the ones that it has are just amplified because so much was taken away.
That could be. And
it's not that you're missing what was taken away. It's just that you know how much was taken away, and you're seeing what you're getting in place of it, and it kind of just rubs you.
Yeah. And so let's just say right off the bat, what do you think here? What's the percentage of content removed versus content added in this expansion?
I think they roughly removed 60% of the game.
Yeah, that's about what I'd say.
Yep. Yeah,
I was
maybe
say
more.
50 to 60.
Yeah. I think it's actually a little bit higher than 60 if you really think about it. But yeah, it's around there. And I would say they added maybe 15%.
I was going to say 10.
Yeah, I think 15 is generous.
Yeah, I think you are being generous as hell. Deeply disappointing storyline. I really was kind of hyped for the storyline in this game. The trailers kind of made it look like it might be better than it ended up being. They actually show you. I was thinking about this yesterday. They almost show you the entire storyline in the trailer. Like that one story trailer that they released, it was like 3 minutes long. They basically show you all the cutscenes from the entire expansion campaign.
Yep. So, they have to get B-roll. That's just an indictment on how short, the amount of content you get. Yeah. It's just
it was
the
short.
The B-roll footage we had in our fucking first trailer pretty much sums up the whole story.
Yeah, I struggle to think of too many scenes that happened in this expansion that weren't in that trailer. Almost all of it was. It's astonishing, really, how low content this expansion is for. It's a major expansion. It's not just like a battle pass expansion. This is a major expansion. It costs $40, and you really feel like you paid. This is like a $20 expansion. It does not feel like a $40 expansion at all. When you finish it, you don't even know it's over. You don't even know it's over.
It should be a free expansion.
In the year 2002. The good fellas at Turbine would have released a monthly patch for a game called Asheron's Call for free that had more content than this expansion. You are correct about that.
I think we're like the last two people on Earth that talk about Asheron's Call.
We probably are. Probably right.
But to be serious, the expansion should not even be $20. People are just using that as a reference to the type of content you get from other games expansions. Yeah, it's about $20 worth, but they've taken, according to Destiny 2's values, $200 worth of content away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they couldn't even muster a fucking $40 expansion?
Can you imagine that? Like, Bungie is setting a stunningly chilling example, a precedent a prescient, a precedent. They are taking content away that you paid for 3 years ago. And they're saying, hey, dude, I know you paid for this. You can't have it anymore. This is not normal. This is not common. If it happens, it doesn't happen very often, and it doesn't happen in big games like this. They are testing some really dicey waters with this whole we're taking content away thing.
It's more nefarious, though, because they have the content vault. It's not going away. It's getting vaulted. It's going to come back and be better. Well, you just gave us a timeline, right? 2022 is when the last expansion most likely is going to be. So we have 2 more years, maybe 3 more years of Destiny. So you're saying in those 3 years, we're most likely not going to even get new content. You're going to rehash these planets you just took away from us. You're going to bring back Io, but better. You're going to bring back Mars, but better. It's just bullshit.
Yeah, and when Mars first came out to begin with, it was heavily rumored that the entire Mars expansion was Destiny 1 content that they literally just converted to Destiny 2.
Yeah, it was.
So the content that they're about to give us again, they actually already gave us again.
Oh yeah,
this is Inception levels of content reuse.
Bungie have turned into like master grifters. I'm telling you,
dude. They're the confidence man of the gaming developers.
They're so good at it. It stuns me.
I know, and we're laughing, but it's like we both just gave them money. Like we're laughing at ourselves, really, right now.
Yeah, it's all you can do is laugh. It's comically sad.
It is, and I thought the storyline for this expansion was comically sad too. I don't want to go into specifics or anything, but overall, Broadcaster Nickels, how disappointed were you in this storyline?
I don't even know if it's like, when you say storyline, that's really giving it too much credit.
What do you
know, storyline says that there's some type of beat to follow. Like some progress. There is no progress with this story. This is just a one-off villain, dies way too quickly in an absurd way.
They tried to make it so Gone with the Wind too. When you're just rolling your eyes so hard, but you're like, what?
Yeah, we'll get to the spoiler, but it's just so corny, and stupid, and short.
Very
short. And
you thought we were halfway through, and then like the next mission we were done.
Yeah,
like you thought we were halfway through on the last mission.
I was fooled because I realized what the trick was, and they've done this plenty of times, but they did it really heavy-handed this time. Was the power gating between each mission, and I noticed because when I was helping you play, because I played it on my own, right? But I had the battle pass because I bought the season. So I had the little bit of experience boost, and I wasn't quite aware of how much it was really helping me level up at first. But then by the time I came to your campaign in the Warlock and I was seeing how slow you were leveling up in comparison to me with the battle pass, I was just like, dude, I felt the level gating so low with the buff. And now I'm seeing how much you're struggling. If you didn't have me in those campaigns, dude, the campaign would have been artificially boosted by like a day or two, probably.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was pretty funny. And the funniest part about it is the content reuse, because as we all know, Destiny, they're just master S-class ninjas at reusing content. And this expansion, the campaign, they send you up and down the same alleyway like 9 times, and that is the campaign basically.
Yeah.
Like literally every time, like, go up this lane and there's a quest. Come back, go back up that lane and go 10 feet higher. Okay?
Yeah.
Come back, now go back that same lane, but 30 feet higher. It is so sad.
It's not only that same lane. It's the exact same area.
It is
the exact same rooms you go through. Yeah, dude. It can be pretty bad.
Yeah, this, like, when you really boil down what's new in this expansion, there is not a lot of meat on the bone. That is what I will say overall.
Looks fucking cool.
It does. Yeah, the visuals are fucking amazing. I love the visuals. I wish I could put the visuals in a different game.
That's the good. Last thing Destiny and Bungie are clinging on to with their death grasps. They're like, look at our visuals.
Man, oh man. The new subclass, though, I was shocked at how over the top and cartoony it was. Like, do you think it matches the rest of the game? Because every time I see the new subclass and the powers it has, all I can think of is, this looks cool, but it looks like it's from a different game.
Yeah, and I think the reason for that is it's physical. It's the first, it's the first time, like, you can actually put like a permanent structure up with your power, right? Like a wall. Like, you can do the light shield wall or whatever, but that eventually disappears or whatever. That ice wall doesn't disappear, from what I understand, until you blow it up, and you also can stand on it. You can't stand on your light barrier shield, I don't think you can, at least. Maybe you can. Maybe I'm just making all this up, but I think the ice is like the first thing that you can, like,
you cannot stand on the light barrier. Definitely not.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's way different. You can tell it's new tech. It's like the only new tech in this expansion is this new subclass. And essentially, your grenade creates objects that you can interact with, stand on, blow up, etc. Which is different and cool, and I like it, but the graphics themselves, when you see people use them, when you go into Crucible and you see all these people spamming these powers, you're like, this doesn't look like it's from Destiny anymore. It looks like I'm playing a different game.
That's been mainly the player base's reaction in PvP too. Like, all of PvP is just pissed.
Mm-hmm. Because they're super OP. Yeah. Like, just like unforgivably OP.
Well, not only that, you can have stasis, but they added that grenade launch, or I think it's a heavy weapon grenade launcher stasis weapon. So you can get heavy ammo and freeze people as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Not to mention, Warlock is way better than everybody else. His charged melee is a freeze. A charged melee is a freeze. A hard freeze. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah. It seems like the Warlock stasis powers are just out of control OP. It is astonishing. But, yeah, so we remove, like, 5 to 6 times more content than we add to this expansion, which is one of the most bizarre things I've ever heard of. I have played MMOs my entire life, and I have never seen an MMO release an expansion or content patch, whatever you want to call it, and remove half the fucking game. It is bold. It is brazen. And the ball's on Bungie to just do this and just be like, it's cool, guys. It'll come back someday. It's just like, holy fuck, dude. I can't believe it.
The fact that they got people to swallow that, impressive.
Oh,
impressive. Dude. It just boggles my mind.
You just think, oh, okay, if they're taking all this content away, they're going to add a lot of content. Broadcaster Nickels, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think there is a single new Crucible or Gambit map in this expansion. I've done a bunch of Crucibles and I've done a bunch of Gambits. It is all the same maps, not a single new fucking map.
Yep. One new strike.
Which was mediocre at best.
Yep. Super short.
Super short. And not eventful either. Like, it's just like, it felt super rehashy. There was no like, oh, this is super cool. Like, this is something I haven't seen before. Nothing like that. It was, if you've played Destiny for 5 years, you've seen this shit before.
Yeah. It just makes you beg the question, like, how do they even get away, like, from, like, the better bit? Like, how is there not a Better Business Bureau investigation going on, and how these guys can even call this an expansion? Like, in what world can they use and justify the term expansion? Right?
It's tough.
Like, that's why when I say, like, it should have been an update, it should have been an update out of good conscience from them, because you can't take that much away and give so little and make them pay for it on top of that, and gate some of it, the content behind a battle pass and behind your monetization store. Insane.
Mm-hmm.
Insane.
It is. And you know what else is insane? Still no matchmaking for raids. No matchmaking for Nightfalls. No in-game looking for group. No in-game clan finder system. And no chat rooms.
It's a philosophy thing at Bungie. We don't think players want to have the ability to go in with strangers for high-level content. We think that most strangers act dumb with each other and can't coordinate. They're just apes. And it only through the marvel of things like Discord and stuff like that do they become civilized and are able to understand mechanics in our game. That's roughly how it goes.
An MMO that outsources its fucking looking for group system in the year 2020. It is, man, this game does a lot of things where I'm just like, how is this fucking possible? But out of everything I just said, the LFG part is the big red flag. It's like, okay, the matchmaking thing, I see an argument. The chat rooms, I see an argument. LFG? You literally won't give your fucking player base a way to coordinate groups in your game because you think that it's bad for people to be able to do content?
These guys created matchmaking. Remember that. Bungie created matchmaking.
They did, dude. They did. Halo 1, you're right, dude. They totally did. I mean, I think technically SOCOM did. Like, you remember that first SOCOM game for PS2?
I think Bungie was the first one to do it stably, though.
Maybe.
Sorry, SOCOM.
Okay, good caveat there. You're probably right with that qualifier on it. They definitely perfected it, that's for sure. And yeah, they're just straight up like, you know, we don't want to make an LFG system in our game, so we're just going to let some random websites on the internet handle that for us in Discord. What a fucking piece of shit attitude to have about
such
your
a disservice.
MMO.
Such a disservice.
And that, I think that's part of the reason why they need to decide if they're MMO or not. If they're not an MMO, then stop pretending to be one, and we won't complain about shit like this. But if you're gonna be an MMO, fucking be an MMO.
Yeah. I think what it all boils down to is the constraints of the engine that they have admitted to themselves numerous times, and they just aren't, no one's willing to look at it enough, or they aren't willing to admit it enough that all these things stem from that problem, that it's hard to do, change it or implement anything new, like LFG or matchmaking or new maps easily, or, having all the planets in at once. Like, really, those planets leaving were a technical issue.
Do you think so?
Do you really
absolutely. If that's true, then holy shit, are we fucked?
Absolutely. They wanted to increase the lighting, right? They wanted to make everything that was going to be existing still in the game look shinier and newer because of next gen coming, right? That's their little remedy to make Destiny 2 look better in the new coming consoles, right? Is that lighting system they just implemented. And Europa. And I guarantee you they wouldn't have been able to fit even the planet, let alone the new lighting system with those other 4 planets they took away. There's just no fucking way, dude.
I didn't even
the game was already getting bloated. Look how short the menu load time got when they took away those 4 planets. My load time, my computer got cut in half almost. It is super noticeable how quickly Destiny 2 starts up now. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, I'm thinking like, man, if those 4 plants were still there, Europa's now added and the new lighting, fuck, dude. It probably would have took like 8 minutes for Destiny to start up.
That's
an exaggeration.
That's a stunning theory though, because I didn't realize it until you just brought that up, but it's true. The game is loading faster now. Yeah. Could it be that this game was loading all these planets at launch, and that's what was slowing down all the? Ooh.
Well, I think there's like a template that it's loading for sure, right? And then it loads everything it can in an instant space, right? But yeah, for sure, something huge was going on the front end when that game's starting.
That's such a crazy design decision from like the person that designed the engine of not Bungie, the engine of Destiny. That is such a bizarre design decision to make, to load everything before you even decide where you're going in a game that's non-persistent and multiple worlds. That's so crazy.
Who knows, man? It's like a keys to the castle type thing, man. You have no idea what goes on in the back end. And for a game with such grand ideas to just get rebooted 1 year or on the year it's supposed to release, and then eventually gets scrapped and remade in an entirety in a year. I don't know. And then you extrapolate all the way out, and they're just like, it's hard to make stuff for this game that we had a 10-year plan for. Mm-hmm. What happened? Did someone like blow up your fucking golden goose before they left and you had to re-put it back together? And now you're just like, it's hard to keep it together.
Yeah. And we've also talked about the fact that developers in the past have leaked out information about working on Destiny 2. And one of the accusations from a former employee is that to just edit a planet of Destiny 2, there's like a 9-hour loading process into the editor.
Right.
That is fucking batshit crazy.
But you think, like, I don't know how it all works, but I know enough why can't you just have dedicated systems that are timed to boot on and start those processes up well before your employees come into the office, and then they run off virtual environments on those machines?
You're assuming the middle management at Bungie is good.
but it just boggles my mind.
Yeah, I know, it is. That being said, Broadcaster Nickels, do you recommend Destiny 2 Beyond Light to the poor soul listening to this podcast that has yet to shill over their hard-earned dollars to Bungie Incorporated?
Don't recommend it at $40. I recommend it maybe when it's on sale for $15-20 maybe. But then again, it's just like, if you're a free-to-play person, no. Just don't even buy it. It's like, why?
Yeah.
There's so much that you can play in that game and some of this eventually trickles down to you. Just wait. There's no need. It's not worth it for $40, especially for $40.
Yeah. At this point, and this is we haven't done the raid yet, so that's the only caveat I'll give. But I'll say at this point, with current knowledge, I would not recommend this game at all. I would not recommend this expansion at all. I think that if you're on the fence about Beyond Light and Destiny 2, and you're listening to this right now, go with your gut. I kind of wish I did. Fucking A. Broadcaster Nickels, are you ready to get to our spoiler section?
Indeed.
Broadcaster Nickels, Aramis is the weakest Destiny villain of all time. What say you?
She just didn't have enough time, dude. She could have been fleshed out. She could have been the greatest villain ever. I personally think she's my favorite.
Well,
who is a better Destiny villain than Aramis? Tell me right now.
Let's see. Savala.
Fired. God damn it, Guardian.
Who's the janitor who's at the bottom that was like a prisoner on the Leviathan?
That's actually my real favorite character, Sweeperbot. I think his name's Benedict, Benedict 48 or something like that.
Dude, Aramis to me completely, not only is she the weakest Destiny villain of all time, but she completely obliterates the entire fallen enemy race as a cool enemy race in Destiny. Before Aramis, before this expansion, I looked at the Fallen as like this sort of like mystical alien race that sort of reminded me of like Stargate. Like sort of this exotic kind of tribal alien race that you didn't know a lot about, except for like they had fucking mechanical eyeballs that floated behind them and gave them power and shit. Like it was just, there was like this real intrigue and mystery with them. And then Aramis shows up and turns them into like keeping up with the Kardashians. It was the destruction of the fallen race to me.
Well, I mean, I think it was going to be the destruction of the fallen race, but she didn't get her way, right? You know what I'm saying? Hey,
no,
that wasn't sexual, but I said it anyways.
Yeah. Yeah, instead we have her in like this very let down of a boss fight where you just smoke her ass like in 2 minutes, and then she looks at the sky and is like, the sky's real beautiful, ain't it, Sarge? And then dies on the battlefield, but instead is frozen in stasis power because, you know, it's Destiny 2, Beyond Light. Stasis power.
Yeah, it'd be a shame if they ever, like, you know, fully developed and fleshed out, you know, the Elixni in their full potential, you know, and showed exactly why they were so dependent on the servitors and the ether that the servitors produced, and the fact that the Elixni were the original race that the Traveler endowed with light, and then when the darkness came to the Elixni's galaxy, fucking Traveler just abandoned them, hightailed them, and left for fucking Milky Way galaxy and picked the humans next, right? And the Elixni followed the Traveler to this galaxy and saw what they were doing with the humans. And they're like, what the fuck, bro? It was a really cool storyline that it really isn't talked about in the in-game too much. It's all in lore and stuff like that. It's just like, oh, fuck all that. Now we're gonna bring Aramis in and we're gonna make the Fallen more like the humans. just dependent on the light. Oh, no, sorry, the darkness. It's just so dumb.
Dumb is the best way to put it. Like the dialogue, the writing for Aramis was just so bad. Every line that boss uttered was complete garbage. Yeah. I struggle to think of worse villains in sci-fi history. Not even just Destiny history. Like, I look at that boss and I'm just like, you suck on every level possible. I would like to delete you from my memory.
I'm hoping that eventually, if this game franchise ever turns around, that the Elixni will actually build up to a pretty cool storyline, because from D1 to present D2, the Elixni, if you really look at them, when you stand back quite a bit, they're the most reskinned race, even from D1. Like they fucked around with Siva, becoming splicers. They fucked around with Dark Ether and Forsaken and became the Scourge. There's now what are they called? Salvation, House of Salvation on Europa that has the darkness. So it kind of illustrates in a more broader sense that this race, this Elixni species, is really desperate to find something other than ether, because ether can only be produced by these servitors, that they're losing the ability of production because they keep on losing all the fights they get into, which doesn't allow them to really manufacture more goods. so they're seeing the end of their rope. So they're trying to wean off ether and find something else, which darkness was the next big thing that failed again. So I'm hoping in that sense that eventually they'll get to this point where they'll use that hindsight and look back and be like, maybe we need to look within and not outward. Type of thing, and something cool happens.
Yeah. It's crazy to me that like everything you just said sounds great, and it'd be cool if Bungie could say that in their fucking game.
Yeah, right.
It's like, dude, like, none of that comes across. It's just like a bunch of nonsense, man.
I'm telling you, dude, if I could get you to, if the majority of Destiny players knew just the beginning origins of the Hive, I think within the confines of the actual game, I'm not saying if they just read the lore and they'd be like swooned by it, but I'm saying if like what they have in lore wise for the beginning of the Hive, because it's so fucking cool. If that was in game in any type of representation, this game would be 10 times more popular. Mm-hmm. It's profound, the type of stuff they talk about in their lore, but none of it ever makes it into the game.
Yeah, and it's just, it makes you want to be like, I wish I was rich so I could go track down the man who invented all of this lore for Destiny that no longer works at the company and be like, hey, dude, we're going to make a game together now. Come over here. Because the guy had great ideas and Bungie squandered all of them.
Well, I think there was a base idea, and then they had a bunch of writers doing the actual lore, right? And then when the whole scuffle, McRuffle dealio in 2013 happened, I think they had to lean on all this lore that all these independent writers and other employees wrote based on the main dude's stuff. And that worked for a while. That's why there was so much lore tabs in D1 and not so much in-depth stuff in D2.
Most
they're
of
running
Destiny 2's lore happens in the fucking raids.
Yeah,
that's weird, isn't it?
Yeah, it's kind of upsetting too, because I just went on today and I haven't even got to play the raid yet, but it gave me the ending raid cutscene.
Really?
They're like, hey, someone beat the raid, world first beat the raid, so here's the cutscene after you beat the raid. It's like, cool. And then also you get this quest available to you, even though you didn't beat the raid. So now there's this exotic sword quest available at Banshee 44. And it's actually a storyline quest, and Banshee 44 is starting to remember who he is. So it's like, cool. So I clearly now know that the raid has something to do with Clovis Bray for sure. You do meet him because Clovis Bray AI is now talking to me. So it's like all these things are happening. You as a player, if you didn't play the raid, you really don't know why any of it's happening, and it's kind of just ruining the storyline for you on week 3.
Oh God, yeah.
It's still week 2.
It's like, okay, if you're gonna do that, make the person earn it. Don't just give everyone the results and like,
they're afraid
push them
to do
along.
that. They're really afraid to do that, because I would have respected them a lot more if I would have went on the internet and then I would have found out, like, oh, you get access to the super dope weapon quest after you beat the raid. You're like, oh, that's even more incentive, reason to get past the raid. Not only playing the raid and getting the exclusive loot that should be there, I hope. I'm not quite sure if it's even there. But on top of that, now you get exclusive access to some dope weaponry. But God forbid, they're afraid to do that.
They are. And they're also afraid to design a new planet that actually has content on it. Europa,
it will over time. Don't worry.
Yeah, exactly.
Give us time.
Trust the plan. Trust the plan.
Trust the plan.
Europa was a work of art, but it felt more like a mirage in the end, because after you beat the campaign and you look around, you're like, well, wait a second. 75% of this map I only went to once, and there's literally nothing to do there. And then the other 25% of the map, they sent you up there like 18 times, and you did the same shit over and over in this one small part of Europa.
Yeah. There's a good chunk of Europa so far is only there for the base camp in that temple.
Mm-hmm.
That's just such a waste.
It makes no sense.
It's like, it's one thing to have that area if there was more on Europa, but there's not. So seeing that, you're just like, man, why don't you utilize this space a little bit more?
Yeah. Visually it's awesome, but like content wise, you're just like, wow, dude, this is less content than I've ever gotten in this game. It's so, oh, we're releasing new content every week. And so far that seems to be true. It does seem like they are releasing new content every week, but it's like, dude, I paid for an expansion. I didn't pay for like a weekly subscription box.
It is what it's starting to feel like. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
I think they're just, yeah. It's just, now that Activision is gone, there are no excuses. And I think the whole player base is starting to feel the fact that there's just no more excuses anymore. I truly, if Destiny gets to Lightfall, I will, with, an enthusiastic development team behind it, I will be fucking shocked. I will be. I just can't imagine the game has that much steam left in it. No. Not after this.
No, not after this like 4-hour campaign thud fest with one strike that was super mediocre. No new map for Crucible, no new map for Gambit, just like nothing. Like it's a giant nothing, this expansion. It's
all of that will
nothing.
come in time.
Yeah.
Over time. And that's not part of it's so sinister when you really think about it too, because you think about these roadmaps they give you and they're just like, look at all this stuff we'll give you over time, but really it's just stuff that you already promised that you failed to deliver, and now you're adding it to the roadmap and saying, you're pointing to it like, look at all this stuff we're gonna do for you.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck you.
Yeah. And also a big fuck you to our ghost. I hate him. I want him to die. And he is worse.
Anyone likes him.
In this expansion, he is worse than ever. It's like they went out of their way to make him even worse.
Oh, man. His darkness lines were so cringy.
Oh, God.
I'm your ghost, and you're my guardian.
Just you bringing it up is making me cringe. It's so bad. And you know what? The worst part about it isn't even the line itself. It's the fact that it will repeat that same little conversation over and over. Like there's this one conversation the ghost has with you is like, I was thinking about it, and you're right. I know I was mean to you about the darkness powers, but now I know that my job is to be your ghost and I shouldn't question you. I'm so sorry for questioning you about the darkness powers. And you're just like, dude, I've heard that line play 5 times now, because anytime you go to the specific area of Europa, he says it again. I don't know why. I don't know if it's a bug. I don't know what it is, but it's happened to me 5 times now. It's like, dude, this line sucked so bad the first time I heard it, but when I heard it the 5th time, I literally want to strangle the developer that wrote it, that put it into the game.
Crazy thing is, this line that you hate so much, it's based on a conversation that they didn't even have. There's no conversation where you and your ghost are like talking, and you're like, dude, I'm going to do this shit. And your ghost's like, nah, you better not. Like, it's not a good idea. There's no conversation like that at all.
No.
Your ghost brings up one time before you actually get the powers. It's just like, I don't know. Isn't this the thing we've been fighting the whole time? And then easily gives up without questions. Like, all right, let's try it out. It's so tough.
It's bad. And not only is the writing bad, I just despise the voice actor. Like the voice, maybe he does other voices well. I don't hate him as a person, but
it's Nolan North.
No, oh God,
that's Nolan
North. God damn it!
I know it's crazy when you think it, when you find out. I'm like, they must hate masculinity so much to cuck Nolan North to this level, right? Because you look at Nolan North, you're like, that's a fine specimen of an alpha male right there. And then you look at you listen to the Ghost in Destiny, and you're like, nah.
Which begs the question: why is Bungie cucking us with this Ghost? Why are they forcing this shitty Ghost on us?
Once upon a time, I was hoping it was because you were going to kill the fucker or he was going to die. It's just like they were making him unlikable, you know? And they just kept going with it. It's like,
crazy, dude.
No one likes this Ghost. No one. But
and it's not like he's recast to be Dinklebot either. They're different ghosts, dude. They have totally different personalities, dialogue style. Everything about them are different. It's not like it's Nolan North doing Dinklebot. It's a totally different ghost.
Yeah. It's so funny, too, because if you Google like the voice of the Ghost or whatever, it says Nolan North, but above Nolan North is a picture of Peter Dinklage. So even Google's kind of like porn, you know? It's just like, well, yeah, maybe, but not really, right?
Oh my God. Well, I have to hand it to Google on that one. That's some good AI right there.
God.
What's not good, though, is the new strike. Super stale and rehashy.
Yeah, I feel like that's all strikes for quite some time now.
You're
right?
It
like,
kind of is.
I feel like strike if MMO if Destiny was if Destiny used proper MMO attributes, then strikes would be dungeons, essentially.
Yeah, they should.
Right? And they're all just parts from the main storyline cut out, right? And reused, taken away, make the enemies a little bit harder, and that's about it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, they don't feel, none of them ever felt creative. I think a few stand out, and they're not actually storyline missions. They're actually standalone instances that you don't get through the natural storyline progression at all. You actually have to queue for them outside of the storyline. They unlock at some point during the storyline, but they're not like a natural area that you already go through, you know, in the storyline. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. There's like when Destiny 1 first came out, and I think some Destiny 2 strikes as well, they kind of just rehashed sections of storyline missions and bottled them and called them strikes. Whereas other strikes now, they've kind of made a new style of just making standalone content that is a strike, which I think they should be. But they're just not creative. They're just always... So they're rather super short and bullet sponge enemies, or they are super long areas that barely have any enemies, right? Think about Tree of Probability, right? You remember that strike?
That's one of my favorite strikes in the entire game.
One of the coolest strikes, right? Mm-hmm. Think about how many areas you just zoom by with your speeder. There's no like there's that one area where you jump off with your speeder and you land in that little intermediate area, and then you go through that huge tubular cutout that has the lasers. Mm-hmm. There's no point in stopping in that area, even though there's a little war going on there, right?
Yeah,
the enemies and everything, there's just no creativity at all.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's kind of the sad thing about it. It's like very recently, we have seen good content come out of this game. Like, early D2 had some really good strikes and had some really good raids. And then you see what we're getting now, and it's just like, man, you look at this new strike in Beyond Light, and it feels like, what's the name of the strike from IO with the Vex?
The Pyramidion.
Yeah, the Pyramidion. This new strike in Beyond Light feels like a super poor man's version of the Pyramidion.
Yeah, for sure. Mix it with a little Fallen, because there's some Fallen encounters in it.
It's like the Pyramidion without all of the charm. It's like you take all of the charm and coolness out of the Pyramidion, and that's what you get with this new strike. There's nothing new about it. There's no cool mechanics. Nothing. You just go through it. You're like, oh, that was it.
No. And
Okay.
remember when you first walked into the strike and you saw the mini Hydra come out first, and you're like, oh, it's mini and big Hydra.
Yeah.
Think about that. That's how it's always a big something. You know, like there's no unique boss battles.
Jesus Christ.
It's just a big something. And they always, in the names, they try to church those names up a lot.
Yeah,
Let's be real here. They really try to sell you hard on those names. So like, use your brain, use your imagination. It's a lot cooler that way. But really, that's just a fucking Hydra.
I know. I think about how many times I've fought the same enemy in Destiny, like since D1 all the way to now. It's like, dude, I have fought the same enemy reskinned 50 times every time. It's amazing when you call Bungie like the ultimate grifters of the gaming world, and we call them like the confidence men of game developers. It is so accurate. Like, we're not exaggerating here. Like, the way they get you to pay $40 for shit that they've reskinned 17 times already.
They watch Glengarry Glen Ross, man. I'm telling you, dude. They are always closing, all right?
Oh, man. It's pretty crazy. And them putting so much storyline in the raids is also crazy, and I don't like it. And all I've been hearing about is how the new, like, oh, it's okay that the storyline sucked ass because the new raid is going to carry all the story. It was all in the raid the whole time, and they're just making you go.
There should be a raid storyline.
Well, dude, you can't.
What there should be.
Dude, we discussed.
That's what there should be.
We discussed in the non-spoiler section, there is no matchmaking system in this game. Yeah. You cannot queue for the raid. So they're basically saying to play the campaign story that you paid for, you actually have to go outside of the game and go to a random website to try and find a group of mercenaries that aren't going to shame you for how bad you are before they kick you after the first.
Yeah, they'll level gate the content and put it literally at the end of said content window to acknowledge it as endgame, but then act like endgame is for everybody.
Yeah, it's for everyone.
It's like storyline is supposed to be for everyone, correct? Like important storyline beats is supposed to be like the main thing you get when you pay for a game for the casuals and everybody involved. And like somewhere at Bungie, they all got convinced that it's just like, this is endgame, right? Yeah. Yes. And this is critical storyline content. Yes. Yes. All right. Yeah. So we're going to do that.
and the average metric is like 10% of players of MMOs do endgame. It's very small. Like most MMO players go through the leveling process, through the storyline or whatever, and then once they get to the end, the max level, quote unquote, end game, they quit. So you're basically saying that the actual story is only reserved for like a tiny, tiny fraction of your player base.
Yeah. Well, even their most focused demographic, kids that are just in school, they don't have jobs. Their parents pay for their stuff. They don't Zoomers. Like I'm not saying that as a slight. I'm just saying that's a period in everybody's life. If you have a fortunate life.
7246 Broadcaster Avenue.
Nonetheless, if you have somewhat of a fortunate life, it's somewhat of a period you have in your life, and it's like that's like the most time focused leeches you'll have on your game, right? Those are the people that are going to suck on every bit of content you have and get good at it. And even those people are only available in seasons, eventually school starts again or something happens, or they get a little bit older and then their workload starts or whatever it is. Like eventually they move on. So it's like, I don't get how they can literally hide important chunks of story behind something that a huge chunk of the player base will never play.
Never.
Ever.
That is the running theme with this game. It's sad as fuck, but doesn't seem like it'll change anytime soon. Broadcaster Nickels, did anything in this expansion excite you?
The darkness that wasn't really there. Again. It's ice.
Are you talking about the Elsa's frozen magic from the Disney movie Elsa? No, Disney movie Frozen starring Elsa. There we go. I got it. Sorry, Zoomers. I grew up in the 90s and the 80s. I don't know. But I pretend I'm with you, Zoomers. Send your hate mail to Nickels.
I think Europa and the prospect of a new subclass was the most exciting thing, and they were fun, but that's all I can say really is they were fun.
Yeah, I wouldn't call cool visuals exciting. I've seen so many cool visuals in my life.
Well, you haven't played the Warlock super yet. All right, once you get that in your hands, you'll be like, all right, I'm a little swollen up here.
I just throw shurikens that create OP heat-seeking ice tornadoes that one-shot people. But
those are sickles,
dude.
Get your shit straight.
So yeah, the only exciting thing about this expansion is the new type of power. So it's not a new subclass; it's actually a new genre of subclass. The darkness.
It's darkness.
And we have this one version of the darkness, which is essentially Elsa's ice magic. And we throw a grenade and say, let it go. And we start singing. That's basically what happens now in Destiny. And in PvP, it's especially bad. Like, everyone uses ice
And I'll tell
magic.
you right now, the very last thing people do when they get frozen is let it go. That shit stews internally.
It does. It does. The ice magic is broken. PvP is essentially use ice or lose. That's basically where we're at now in PvP. And apparently,
I think they
Bungie's
nerfed
happy
it a little
with that.
bit. I haven't played it since they nerfed it, but
Oh, there was a nerf?
I think so.
Okay.
I think they nerfed the ice abilities a little bit.
I have not experienced that yet. And before the nerf, it was really bad. So maybe it's been fixed. If that's true, that's cool. But actually, my real point here is that nothing really exciting happened in this expansion except for this new power. But this new power isn't really that exciting because it doesn't really fit in the game. It looks weird. It doesn't fit with every other power in this game.
No, it doesn't. And, it might be by design. Should it be? Because so far, I'm giving it the game the most benefit of the doubt as I can at this point. All right, so hear me out. It is the darkness, right? It's supposed to be the exact opposite
in the mail. Okay, so we're gonna get this lecture now.
It is supposed to be the exact opposite of the light, which is the only thing we've had for 6+ years, right? Or whatever, 6 years, I think. So maybe that's appropriate to feel that. Maybe that's a good thing.
All right. Well, so I guess what you're saying is that light is ethereal and darkness is physical, and that's why the first darkness power was very physical and visceral, with ice blocks appearing that you can jump on and interact with as real objects. So what are they going to do with the other two then? Because you're not going to have poison ice to deal with. You're going to stand on poison? Like, what are you going to do? You're going to force push the poison? Like, the way they've set a precedent with this first darkness power is that darkness powers are a whole different ball game. What do you actually expect they're going to do with the other two?
I think it's going to be parasitical. So I think you're going to infect people with poison, and they can it's gonna be like a debuff that you can pass on to your teammates and stuff. So it is somewhat physical because it now changes the dynamic of how you have to interact with your teammates on a PvP format, at least. You know, because we already seen poison in Thorn. It's the only weapon of its kind in Destiny that does poison, and now they just added a new gauntlet in Beyond Light that complements it. So everyone's thinking that poison is definitely going to be the next subclass because it's darkness themed, and it's pretty obvious now that that's one of the most unique things that they've done nothing with, that they've hinted at they have the ability to do in the super serious confines of developing anything in the Destiny engine.
Poison. Well, Kefka would be proud.
Yeah, but who knows what the third one could be.
Well, you think it would be Void?
It could be Shadow.
Void is light. Broadcaster Nickels, and you are a vaunted defender of Bungie. You've received many high quality stakes from Bungie in your time as a follower. Tell me how they can justify Void being a part of light now that there is a darkness tree. Please elaborate, Broadcaster Nickels.
I really don't know. It's so this harkens back to the idea that everything that's being made so far is by people that had no idea what the original intentions of the storyline was.
Yep.
Because the fact that Void exists in its original kind of description, they might have changed it a little bit to justify it now. They probably most definitely have now, but nonetheless, the original description of the Void was pretty much finding the darkness and the light, essentially, like going to the darkest points of the energy that's given to you in the light,
AKA
and pulling something out.
The fucking darkness. Yes, exactly.
Yeah. And so I don't know.
All right. Well, I think
it's hard to reconcile those type of things.
They just downgraded your porterhouse down to a New York strip, just so you know, for that response. But Broadcaster Nickels, as you know, here on the Crack Cellar Podcast, we have a segment called the Hit, the Miss, and the Whiff.
Yikes.
Broadcaster Nickels, what is your hit?
Probably Europa. No. I'm going to go a lot more specific. The Warlock's super ability. Very big hit. Love it. Great. Makes you feel super dope. I wish you had that level of creativity for the rest of the game.
Yeah. Yeah, they definitely seem to use all their creativity on the Warlock this time around, for sure. My hit is Varric's voice actor. I don't like the character Varric very much, but I fucking love his voice actor. And when he would do his little lines and he'd like go between like syllables and between words, I don't know what it was about it, but it just was really fucking authentic. And I don't usually like it when voice actors put speech impediments on their deliveries. Like, usually it comes off super cringy to me, and I'm just like, oh, shut the fuck up. Stop with that crap. When he did it, it made me kind of giggle a little bit. Like, I liked it. I don't know what it was about it, but I really loved the way he delivered his shit lines that the writers delivered to him.
Yeah, that is one of the tragedies. You look at the talent they have behind voice actors, and they probably just fucking loathe delivering those lines. Heads up, Guardian.
Anytime he got a new page of dialogue, he probably rolled his eyes to the back of his head for sure. That being said, Broadcaster Nickels, what is your miss?
I think we spent a lot of time tonight talking about the misses.
A lot to choose from.
I think the miss is the content, the loot the loot pool, like how little they gave you. It's a literal miss. There was nothing there.
Yeah.
I think that's probably the biggest miss of the expansion is the fact like they took so much away, and they said, "Don't worry, we're going to start giving you some cool shit that you won't even care. You'll forget that you were missing it." You know, and that's exactly the opposite they did, at least so far.
My miss is the campaign. Which is the game, basically. It's the game minus the raids. The campaign was garbage. Nothing about it was good. The premise of it was bad. What resulted of all the character interactions was bad. The progression of the levels was bad. The level design was bad. The music was surprisingly bad. Everything about it was bad except for the graphics. Like, could you imagine if you put this exact same game, but like with some really bunk ass graphics, how you would react to this game?
Oh, it would be garbage,
dude. You would
clash schmuck on Steam, dude.
Dude, it would be getting review bombed on Steam right now if it weren't for how pretty Europa is, in my opinion. It was a bad campaign, beginning to end. Every facet.
Oh, it is, dude. It's like 3.3 Metascores. Pretty sure it's getting pretty bad scores,
and that's with the amazing art that's in this game. That's my point. Like, imagine if it was just like garbage art from like some bargain bin developer using like pre-made assets or something. Like, man, just really, really bad game. Overall, I hope to hell the raid redeems this game in some way, because if this raid tier in Destiny Beyond Light does not just hit all the bells and whistles, if it is not at least a 9 out of 10 or higher, this expansion was a total and utter failure. And even if it does go 9 or 10 or higher, it's borderline. That being said, Broadcaster Nickels, what is your whiff?
I think the whiff is actually going to be stasis in general. Just poorly implemented. Kind of like, looks like on paper, it looks like a fucking knockout of the park, but you implement it's like you guys did nothing to fucking plan for the implementation of this. You're just like, how are we gonna wow them? Let's wow them.
Yeah,
I think it's I don't know, man. It's so hard to even think about this section of the podcast because of how bad this franchise has come to and how poorly this fucking expansion was put together.
Yeah. Well,
it's like, what isn't a miss and a whiff?
Yeah, like some things we review, it's like there's so many hits to pick from, and there's very few misses and whiffs, so it's a lot harder. But in this one, it's the total opposite. Like, it was hard for me to think of a hit when I was racking my brains, and the hit I came up with is pretty low tier if you think about it.
This is like the exact opposite, but you get the same level of difficulty answering it from the first season of Raised by Wolves.
Yeah,
you know, it's easy to say a hit, just pick one. And then you're like the miss and the whiff. You're like, how dare you? You want to come at me with something else, bro?
Yeah. Well, my whiff is just them removing 60 to 70% of the game's content in an expansion that replaced it with like 5 to 10% of the content that was deleted.
You say whiff, I say black hole.
yeah, exactly. You imagine what was going through their heads. Like, it's when you brought up the technical part of it and you're like, well, wait a second, I have faster load times now. Maybe they deleted all these planets to increase the performance. I'm just sitting here thinking like, holy fuck. did they really just delete half the game because their game's coded so poorly that they need to maintain proper performance?
Well, they admitted to it in dev notes. The main guy admits to it. He's just like, we need to make room for more content. He's like, if you want to see the game go on and you want to allow us to not make another game, please, then you'll let us delete this content and make room for more.
That's a huge whiff, especially if you're trying to be an MMO, because MMOs do not remove content. That is the most bizarre thing I've ever heard of in my life. Now, if you're just like some sort of game that isn't an MMO, then how about you declare it and you stop pretending and you just be what you are? Broadcaster Nickels, as you know, here on the Crack Cellar Podcast, we have the official, patented Joker rating system. On that system, what do you rate Destiny 2 Beyond Light?
Dude, I'm going to give it a fucking Caesar Romero X Skrillex dubstep. It is something terrible. I'm going to give it a Caesar Romero.
I'm going to call that a C-. Write that down as a C-. You know, I think Caesar Romero just raised his eyebrow a little higher after that call out. That was an extra high eyebrow, Caesar Romero.
Rest in power, Caesar.
Yeah. Still better than Jared Leto. And speaking of Jared Leto, I'm going to give this to Jared Leto.
Speaking of fucking bad fish.
I wanted to like this expansion so much. I love ice planets. I love the whole concept of riding a speeder on the snow. You know, like this, everything about this expansion screams me. I should love this expansion. This should be everything I ever hoped or dreamed for. But in the end, I got a piece of shit expansion that added barely any content, maybe 4 hours of a campaign. Every single line of dialogue was cringy. The ghost sucked. Varix was written like a bitch. Fucking Aramis was written like an even bigger bitch. Savala just, did his normal, hey, Guardian thing. And like, there's nothing here. There's nothing in this expansion. I feel like I got mugged in an alleyway. I feel like Bruce Wayne's parents right now. And with that, we will close out.
I don't know about you, but when I first got onto Hoth, Europa, I was like, man, it'd be really cool right now if we had like some close to snow themed Star Wars-esque speeders or something like that. And then you know what I did? I went to Eververse, and you know what they had? Exactly that for $10 fucking dollars.